next poll question, that would be wonderful. And Bob, I'd like to pose this question to you. I want to make sure we cover real world evidence and registries. And I'd love to know your thoughts on the use of registries and other sources of real world data collected in those clinical settings to support cell and gene therapy products development and post-approval data collection. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's absolutely critical to address these particular topics, namely the registry and the real-world evidence. First off, in that these extremely rare diseases, particularly in children, there's not much information out there because they are so rare. And so looking at the natural history, what is the progression? What is their expected lifespan? For many of these topics, it's unknown. What are those critical features? What are the prognostic factors? How do you make the diagnosis? And so by having registries and following these individuals over time, it's absolutely critical for designing clinical trials and determining the endpoints and to be able to follow these individuals to justify going forward to BLA and an approval. With these extremely rare populations, would be very difficult to establish a randomized controlled trial for ethical reasons and also practical reasons of getting enough patients in, particularly with these extremely rare diseases. And for the first time with cell and gene therapies, we have an opportunity to either stop progression, and in some cases we found actually reverse the disease, or even ultimately cure it or prevent it from ever happening in the first place. And so it's absolutely essential to have these registries and the real world data from electronic medical records in other areas and healthcare practitioners. So it's very important. Also, pivotal is that the agency is putting out guidance documents on how to utilize this information. It's coming slowly, but it will be there, and over time it will evolve. One of the things is that for products that receive the RMAT designation for accelerated approval, the confirmatory trial can utilize real-world evidence as the basis for having that confirmatory data to support regular or traditional approval. So those are those key elements that are necessary, and it's absolutely essential to do this. One of the things that's being proposed and is very important is for those individuals or medical centers or patient-focused groups to understand the amount of data that need to be collected, how it should be audited, and how it should be scrutinized to be valuable for support of confirmatory trials and also initial approval. So this is absolutely critical. The other thing for real world evidence is important because the long-term consequences. So with gene and cell therapies, it's typically a single dose and it lasts for the lifetime of the individual. What are those long-term consequences? And you can pick that up with the real world evidence. And as I mentioned, the potential for the tumorigenicity, and then even for immunogenicity. How long will that last? Will there be developments? Real world evidence is the best way to follow that.